All right, welcome back. So we're going to go through the rest of the paper now and just kind of see what we got written. History of the California condor, population, their extinction, and current critical endangerment. This has been vetted. Only I've got one source that says 21, the other one says 22. Um, one random source said 27, but almost all of this stuff has been checked. I quoted a Robinson thing, and this one's the most cited article. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. In 1982, so it's currently 2023. If it was 2022, that would be 40 years ago. So 41 years ago. Wow. I was born in 86. 41 years ago, California condors went extinct in the wild. There were 22 that were left alive, but they were captured and put into captivity. This is the lowest the population ever got. And one of the problems with having the population dive down to these low numbers is that it has created almost like inbreeding. It is, right? So it creates a very small genetic pool. So when these birds now, as they are creating new birds, new condors, they have the same kind of problems that you would have in a, if you're having a baby with your cousin type thing, where you have an inbreeding problem and there's some birth defects here and there, and but more to the point, it makes their immune systems, once again, their immune systems aren't as strong, and basically you don't want to breed a small population. Well, 22 birds, right? It took a long time. These birds did not want to mate. Okay, so instead of mating every other year like they can, it was taking 4 to 5 years, sometimes 6, 7, 8 years to get the birds to mate successfully. And then it was also becoming a problem. By the way, I found out the idea of grabbing the eggs. That's what they do. So it's not an idea that hasn't been done before. It's something that, it's what's cool is you came up with the idea without knowing that this was a standard practice. So I'm very proud of you for thinking that, because you thought it up. I found out that that's what they did. So just like your idea would go steal the egg. The reason I took that out as the primary solution is because that's what they do all the time. So they're always taking the egg to cause the bird to lay a second egg. Okay, so inbreeding, reduced adaptability, depression, and the birds just aren't firing on all cylinders. California condor has 40 pairs of chromosomes. These are reproductive chromosomes compared to 23 for humans. And the California condor's genome has been fully sequenced. That was by these guys. This is a good group, Robinson. All right, here we go. Let's keep reading. So I go into depth about the sequencing method. It doesn't matter. California condor shares a common ancestor with the American poultry farm chicken 70 million years ago. Well, thank God it was that long ago, because the H5N1 goose strain that came out of China that is now in America, and now it's really our strain at this point because it's further mutated away from the China goose virus, but it's still considered that part of that strain. And well, here's the thing. In America, if a poultry chicken, Tyson Chicken, Sanderson Farms, if one of the chickens gets the virus, the whole it's 90 to 100% lethal. And transmission in those tight packed poultry farms, high density factory farming of animals, bad idea. It takes 10 minutes for the entire, for 10 million birds to have it. So far, over 100 million chickens in America have died from the virus. Now, we have this is called, they call it biosecurity. Biosecurity just means kill all the birds. The biosecurity in Holland actually meant go get 10 million like weasels and ferrets and things, and kill all of them. So they're killing millions and millions. They're trying to kill or cull the population. Like, remember my idea? My crazy idea was, why don't we kill all the condors? It turns out that is a standard operating procedure. It's called biosecurity, and it's culling. So yeah, they've. The thing is, we don't have enough California condors to kill the ones that are most susceptible to getting HPAI, H5N1. So we have to find other methods here. Okay. And again, the another method would be, remember we said round them all up? No, don't do that, because rounding them all up would just create a highly concentrated density area where if ever a virus got in, it would replicate through the entire population of condors. We want them all basically spread out. Um, yeah, your idea in this paper is, why don't we get the birds to be moved the hell out of the way? Because this is true. I'm quoting a source here. Migratory waterfowl are the primary vector for the virus. The migratory waterfowl are flying north to south, and then they fly south to north along the Great Pacific. I'm sorry, I added the word great. The North American Pacific Flyway. That huge, you saw my paper with the green shaded area along the West Coast. Basically, the entire state of California, part of Arizona, part of Utah, part of Nevada. All of Oregon, and all of and actually in Washington, and also in Vancouver, British Columbia, there are what are called MSAs for these waterfowl, and those are called migratory staging areas. So it's basically where the birds rest, and then they take flight again, and they fly over California, and they go to the bathroom. They fly over Utah, and they go to the bathroom. They fly over Arizona, and they go to the bathroom. And how else did the condors in Arizona and Utah get the virus? Because they don't have direct contact with any of the flocks in California. Arizona, Utah is far away. I don't know about Baja, and it kind of worries me, because if the Baja condors number reporting comes from Mexico, then it may not be included in the numbers I gave already. And their reporting agencies I haven't yet found them, put it that way. All right, so let's take a look at the asymmetry and the population sizes of the California condor and the Andean condor. I should make a note. Andean means it's in the Andes Mountains. We're talking about Peru, Chile, down there by Patagonia in the Andes Mountains. Okay, so the Andean condor is a newer species than the California condor. There is another species of condor in South Korea, but the Andean condor is actually a bigger bird with a bigger wingspan. So that's why you always see them saying, well, the California condor is the biggest bird in America, like North America, I guess, because in South America there's an even bigger condor. Now, I was saddened to see that while there are many thousands more of these Andean condors than there are California condors, first of all, it used to be the other way around, and it appears that humans killed them. So the Pleistocene is kind of this ice age period, and then we get to the Holocene, which is the period of time when humans are directly they named the geological period after humans because we impacted the environment so much that it transformed the ecology of the world more than geologic processes did. Well, basically we hunted them. We hunted the condors to extinction. And all the headdresses that you see in like old movies and stuff, those are based on headdresses that the Native Americans made from condor feathers. Okay, so they like these big freaking feathers. Well, that's got to come from a big freaking bird. So they would kill the bird, eat the meat, and put the feathers and make a headdress. Well, back in the 1800s and early 1900s, the condor population was hunted to near extinction, and 10,000 years ago, we hunted it to near extinction. It got down to 500 birds 10,000 years ago, and then it got back up to a few tens of thousands, and then basically in the last 150 years, we brought it from 500 birds. So the Native Americans, maybe they hunted it down from 10,000 to 500. But we hunted them down from 500 to 22 in less than a century. Habitat destruction, killing them, poaching. Well, there wasn't anything preventing you from killing them for a long time. Anyway, I was wrong about them spending $30 billion. I keep seeing the number 30 million, so let's go with that. $30 million was spent bringing the species back, and it's the most money that's ever been spent on any species ever. Each one of the birds is tagged with a geolocation thing, and it's got under its wings, it's got an identifying number written on it. And all of the condors in America, we know precisely where they are, and they're even named. Okay. So there's an exponential decline here from 50,000 to 500 about 10,000 years ago. See? And that's partially explained by the ice age thing that happened then. So we had a glacial maximum that lasted from 100,000 years before present to basically 11,500 years before present, with some variations there and there. And those glacial maximums are what produced the Bering Land Bridge. Well, then there was a massive meteor impact in Greenland. This is a theory. They found the impact. They found the impact crater, but the theory is what I'm about to say, that that meteor caused what are called glacial, instantaneous liquefaction of the glaciers, and it burst this huge, massive 1,000-foot wall of water, burst through the glacial ice dams, creating the weird patterns in the land that we see in the Columbia River Valley and in northeast Washington, and to a certain extent, well, anyway, in Oregon. So and also there's something like this in Nebraska, but it's not the same. It almost looks like these massive mega floods. They would have burst over basically the Washington border with Canada and spilled down in there. And just like a beach, when the water recedes, it pulls the sand and it creates these ripple patterns in the sand. We see the exact same thing, only it's in the ground, in the land itself. So it's hard for human beings to imagine enough water moving so fast at such great pressure that it could literally churn the dirt, like it was sand. But it did. Those glacial floods were so powerful that they could crush a rock into pebbles. So we just can't imagine what happened. Anyway, that contributed to the declining population of the condors. Habitat destruction, hunting by Native Americans. Now, we should mention here that human beings have been in America for 20,000 years. They were called the Clovis culture. The Clovis points, so like little arrowhead things, that's what they get their name from. And we've been here for 20,000 years. It's possible that, we were here much longer than that. But the number of the existing evidence has lots of support for about 20,000 years, and then people say 200,000, and that's possible, but who knows? So basically, it went down to 500, and it held there until we killed them down in 100 years to 22. Okay, so this is just stuff that needs to be done, and that's it. Okay, so I have a lot more stuff here I'm going to show you. See all this stuff that's red? This is stuff that I haven't yet made available to the paper. Okay, I actually have way more of this stuff. Look at this thing. Than I do written work. So I'm being pretty careful about how I choose my sources because, at this point, you're interacting with the people that publish this stuff. Candace Bennett and Katie Hammond. So